Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And a hush fell over the crowd. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Salem Chamber Forum Speaker Series Luncheon. And today we have quite a special meeting, as you are all aware. It is wonderful to see this many people from our small business community and community at large interested to hear the platforms of our two Salem mayoral candidates. We're very honored that both accepted our invitation, understanding the massive importance that our small business community plays in this local economy here in Salem. And so I applaud both Mayor Julie Hoy and Councilor Vanessa Nordyke for joining us here today to speak directly to our members. Absolutely. Leading this organization's 24-person volunteer board of directors team is President Ted Ferry with State Farm Insurance. Ladies and gentlemen, your president, Ted Ferry.
Well, here we go. You can feel the tension in the air, can't you? Tension in the air. Well, hey, I just wanted to thank all of you for being here today, and thank you for a packed house. This is amazing. I hope we get this on video, how many people are in this room for this moment in time. I want to thank all the new members to the Salem Chamber of Commerce. I also would like to thank and recognize any members that are the first time attending a forum. So hopefully you see value in this and that you are encouraged to come back again. Of course, we always want to recognize our Forum Season Series sponsor. So put your forks down, Hagen Hamilton. So we don't have a head of the table right now. So what I would ask is if you could stand and have us recognize you for being our Season Series sponsor. So thank you. Oh, we're going to play a video now.
Do the right thing is our first value, and it's the most core to what we are as a business and what we do. We believe in long-term relationships. Doing things the right way is the only way we can do them. We've been in the community for 115 years, so everything we do starts with that value of do the right thing. We're going to make sure we do right by the client every single time.
Excellence is found in its pursuit. It's about getting a little bit better every day, overcoming challenges, setting high standards. Excellence is a habit. It's not a finish line.
I love working with my clients and strategizing with them to help them with their employee benefit plans. But coming back to the office and working as a team with my coworkers and those account managers is integral to what I do.
If you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go with the team. When you think about your business and your company and looking out into the future, you want to be partnered up with companies that are going to be there for you. Companies like Hagen Hamilton.
Hagen Hamilton is proud to sponsor the Forum Speaker Series, and we thank you for joining us. Enjoy the presentation.
Well, maybe we keep it in that same format the next time. That seemed to flow a lot better. So also we want to thank our monthly sponsor, which is really exciting. We'll hear more from them in a little bit, but it's the Political Center powered by Salem Business Journal. So we'll look forward to hearing from them in a little while. So in this moment, can you please stand and help me spend some time in prayer and reflection, but also we'll invite up Bryant Malone to sing our national anthem. Let's pray. Gracious Father, we take this moment to pray and to reflect, each in our own very unique way, on our lives and in this moment that could be a real time of refreshing. We are thankful for the meal before us and those who make this event possible. We are thankful for our elected officials and the other many leaders and pillars of our community that are in this room today. Help us to have a heart of a servant. We don't want to have hearts that are self-serving desires, but hearts that reach towards a peace that pleases you. We are grateful for this day and for its blessings, its opportunities, and we are also thankful for its challenges and trials. Give all of us wisdom and strength and guidance to take each day on every single time with actions of love, joy, and kindness. Bryant, will you perform our national anthem?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the rampart we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Wow, I've met with him a couple of times, and he never did that for me before. So those of you who don't know, Brian Malone is a financial professional with WealthWave. When Brian isn't helping people with their management goals or their financial money goals, he also serves as one of our emerging leader ambassadors. And I also want to take this moment in time to point out anybody that you see in a blue vest, or majority of the blue vested people with our logo, or the blue blazer, those are our ambassadors. They really provide an important part for our Salem Chamber of greeting people, making this place feel like a home. So thank you so much for our ambassadors and how you treat us every single event. Now I'd like to recognize, I think we have a few past presidents. I saw Wendy here. So if you are a past president of the Salem Chamber of Commerce, could you please stand and be recognized? Great crew, great crew. And as Tom said, we have a very a great system of how we operate the Salem Chamber. We have, I think, 25 board of directors with the Salem Chamber of Commerce. Could you please stand and be recognized? I get the pleasure to serve with all of them, and they're just wonderful people. Well, a couple of things. We have some local elected officials that are in place, and I'm really, really pleased to announce that two of them are here, Mayor Hoy and Councilor Nordyke. Thank you very much for showing up for this event. We also have Marion County Commissioner Kevin Cameron, Marion County Sheriff Nick Hunter, Marion County District Attorney Paige Clarkson, City Councilor Linda Nishioka, Salem City Councilor Shane Matthews, Salem City Councilor Deanna Gwynn, wow, and then Kaiser City Council Sarita Cross, and then Monmouth City Councilor Christopher Lopez. So if we missed you, just pop a text to Tom real quick, and we'll make some notice later. So that was a great crew. Thank you guys all for being here. Now, where are we at on the list here? One of the best parts that I get to be a part of with the Salem Chamber is watching our members grow and watching them develop their business plans, really growing this marketplace that isn't always the easiest one to grow in. One of those, we get to see that they get to take on new challenges and expand their businesses and find new ways to contribute to our community. It is especially meaningful when that growth happens through collaboration between two Salem Chamber members. So today's monthly sponsor, the Salem Chamber's Speaker Forum Series, The Political Center, and it represents a new partnership and venture with Small Business or Salem Business Journal. And so I'd ask if Jesse Pion could come forward and share with us a little bit about this new adventure. Thanks, brother.
Good morning. My name is Jesse Pione. I'm the CEO of the Salem Business Journal. And it has been a privilege of mine to serve our community in the media space this last year. Salem is a special place. It's our home, and it's worth fighting for. That's why we're all here today. The Salem Business Journal focuses in on Marion and Polk County, where we really lean into local business, economic, and political news. Due to the success that we've had this last year, we've had many of our audience members, many of our readers reach out to us and ask us to start covering statewide political news. And it's because of that that I am proud to announce to you today that the Salem Business Journal, in partnership with PacWest Lobby Group, is launching the Political Center, a platform that covers statewide politics, has a podcast and a newsletter. And it's now live. People are exhausted by politics right now. The constant heat over the last decade has broken down trust, and it's torn down conversations. This does not strengthen democracy, it weakens it. Politics has become too much of a team sport, and too much political news is built around fighting for one side or fighting for the other. And if both sides are steering the conversation towards themselves, then that's not real political news coverage, that's just noise. And the Political Center is here to change that. The purpose of the Political Center is clear: to provide trustworthy, well-sourced political reporting and a safe place for civil debate and discourse. The Political Center will be fair and factual. We won't dodge the hard questions. We'll ask them directly, respectfully, and with the intent to listen and learn. We'll get information directly from political insiders who actually know what's going on and provide a platform for them to discuss and debate so that way all of us can make informed decisions. So please scan the QR code that's on each of your tables there and subscribe to the Political Center. It launches today, and if you value informed, credible reporting, this platform is built for you. And as we move into the debate, please listen past the applause lines and past the grandstanding. Listen for substance, listen for values, and listen for who actually has a real concrete plan and can lead a city that doesn't always agree with each other. And as Jane Goodall reminds us, change happens by listening and then starting a dialogue. I'd like to thank Tom Hoffert and the Salem Area Chamber of Commerce for hosting this debate. I'd like to thank Mayor Hoy and City Councilor Nordyke for stepping up to serve. And of course, I'd like to thank all of you for being here today. And I'm super excited to sit with you today, listen to the debate, and I'm excited for the civil discourse that we're going to have right afterwards. Thank you. And now, to introduce today's discussion with our two mayor candidates and share the debate format, we welcome back the Salem Chamber CEO, Tom Hoffert. Thank you, Tom.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are a private organization, and we have seen at Salem City Council meetings a major deterioration in decorum. On behalf of our board of directors team and our well-trained ambassadors who are throughout the room, today's debate will have the utmost professionalism by audience members, and I'm going to ask for your partnership in that. We will not be an organization filled with hisses or boos like we are often seeing at Salem City Council. As such, our ambassadors have been instructed, if we do have disruptions such as this, regardless of political candidate, we will be looking at your behavior and you will be asked to leave. Let's not make that an issue today. Thank you for your partnership, and we are going to trust that you will have an appropriate attitude throughout today's forum. Now to discuss today's format. Each of our two mayoral candidates will start with a 2-minute opening statement. Following that, they will address 3 questions by the Salem Area Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, and then they will have the opportunity to ask their opponent 2 questions, and they will be allowed a rebuttal. Following that, we will go to questions from the audience. On at each of your stations, there is pen and paper to submit a question. When your question is written and you'd like to submit it, just simply put your hand up, and one of our amazing ambassador members will come and get that and route it up to Jameson and I in front. I'd like to recognize Jameson Gideon, who is helping with timing in partnership with our partners at Allied Video, and we want to make this as seamless as possible. To start out today's debate, we'll do a coin flip for who will start first. This is an American quarter with a heads and a tail, an American quarter with a tail and a heads. So we are going to ask our residing mayor to make the call in the air. I will announce the call. Whoever wins the coin toss will be our first candidate to speak, and then we will go alternating from there, going first, second, second, first. First, second, second, first, in that order. So, Mayor, I'm going to flip the coin if you would call it in the air.
Tails.
The call is tails, and it is, in fact, tails. Mayor Hoy, you will start your 2-minute introduction when I go sit in that seat. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here.
Thank you for this opportunity, and I'll get right to the point. My first year as mayor has been a wild ride, if you hadn't noticed. Much has been accomplished, and there's been much more to be done. In January of 2024, the 5-year financial forecast reflected a deficit of $23.4 million in 2026. After a citizen-led financial forecast review, our projected deficit dropped to $17.7 million. Adjustments were made to the forecast assumptions based on the efficiency review team recommendations, and the deficit then dropped to $13.8 million. Add the voter-approved livability levy in May of 25, which, by the way, was an unprecedented rapid collaboration between the Library, Center 50 Plus, and Parks, and we found ourselves with a $3.9 million positive fund balance for 2026. Can I get an amen? Thank you. I want to place credit where credit is due. First, incredibly capable staff, including our new city manager. Appropriate council direction helped and further encouraged leadership staff to work toward positive outcomes. There is joy to be had in this work when the news is actually good. My gratitude also lies with this chamber. Certain members came alongside me as a councilor and gave me great questions to ask. I will be forever grateful to the folks at Aldridge CPAs and my girlfriend who eats budgets for breakfast, who first spotted $1 million error. My participation in the Harvard Bloomberg Center for Cities New Mayors Conference led to my application for the International Mayors Cohort Experience. As 43 mayors from around the world, we gather with regularity to discuss the issues we're facing. Striking to me is the fact that the issues we face are all quite similar. That involvement led me to apply for what Bloomberg Harvard calls a collaboration track. It's not an easy application process, and our application was accepted. Bloomberg Harvard came to Salem and began work on my chosen priority, which is public safety. I'm just getting started, and I look forward to a second term as your mayor.
Thank you, folks. My name is Vanessa Nordyke. I was born and raised in the city of Salem. Becoming the mayor would be the greatest honor of my life. I started volunteering in this city when I was 13 years old, and I have never stopped giving back. Over the years, I have worked with city, state, county, and even national partners to address some of the issues that are facing this community. Issues like affordability, housing, domestic violence, public safety, mental illness, addiction, homelessness, and climate change, and I never shy away from a challenge. I bring decades of experience and a true heart for service. Salem is transforming. We are growing rapidly. Our city faces unprecedented challenges in affordability, infrastructure, and safety for all. As a city councilor, I believe in enforcement of our laws on the books, and as you know, I voted to ban camping on our city property. But enforcement is not enough, and enforcement is not cheap. While I've also voted to increase public safety funding, I have also voted to create pathways for people to exit homelessness once and for all. And one of the things that I've long championed is finally coming to fruition this year, a crisis team comprised of medical and mental health professionals to respond to persons who are struggling with addiction and mental illness. This is a crisis team that has the full support of our police chief and our fire chief. We also know that rising property values are pushing longtime residents out of their homes and keeping home ownership out of reach for the next generation. To keep up with these challenges, Salem needs a champion. The office of mayor is the most underutilized resource in city government. Most people don't know who the mayor is or what the mayor does. If we are going to tackle these challenges and build trust, then that has got to change. The mayor should be leading the charge to uplift our most vulnerable
Thank you,
residents,
Councilor Nordyke.
support our businesses, create affordable housing, support our parks,
Councilor
library,
Nordyke.
and senior center, and ensure that our first responders have the tools they need. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, thank you. For equitability and transparency, I want to make sure that we do adhere to our timing today. I'm going to ask that of both of you. Thank you so much. The first question is going to go to Councilor Nordyke, and then the same question will be asked of our Mayor, Julie Hoy. Question 1. How do you plan to address the challenge of homelessness, drug use, and mental illness in Salem? And what role should law enforcement, healthcare providers, and social service organizations play in your solution? Each of you have 1 minute, and I would be happy to reread the question after the first responder.
Well, in 1 minute, Tom, let me tell you, nobody should be living on our streets. We have to address these intersecting challenges right now. I've already talked about that mental health unit that I've described. We need to enforce our camping ban and clean up the garbage. I voted to help create that sanitation team and to create the homeless services team, which council unanimously has voted to increase its capacity for. We also need to build more shelters and more housing. I've talked with one of our homeless services team officers recently, and he told me, telling people where they can't camp doesn't do much good if there aren't any places for people to go to. We have to create pathways for success. Lastly, I feel that we need to work directly with our unsheltered, our service providers and stakeholders. And as just one example, I talked with a homeless youth shelter just a few days ago and talked about how we can strengthen our connections between the City of Salem and their shelter to get our homeless youth off the streets into a home and with a job. So there's a lot we can do.
Thank you, Councilor. Mayor Hoy, would you like the question repeated? Or
Sure.
Okay. How do you plan to address the challenge of homelessness, drug use, and mental illness in Salem? And what role should law enforcement, healthcare providers, and social service organizations play in your solution?
Thank you. Christmas Eve, I was in the Manna Bakery store and getting some goodies, and I came out and saw the Pioneer Trust Bank gentleman out front. They caught my eye. One was wearing a Christmas jacket, and went over to say hello and hugged, and then realized why they were outside. And it was to clean feces from the doorways of the bank, as well as the walls and the ground out front. It's unacceptable. I made my way to my car to find an entryway to apartment living where there was an empty liter of Tanqueray and a bunch of cardboard and clothing items and a woman. And I saw the woman and I thought, is she going to pick up her garbage? And then she used her key to enter the residence and go upstairs. I mistook her for someone who left that behind. We have to stop this behavior. We have to help those who need our mental health assistance and addiction services.
Thank you, Mayor Hoy.
Thank you.
The second question will start to Mayor Hoy. Salem Area Mass Transit District, Chariots, based on legislative taxing authority, has proposed a 0.7% employer-paid payroll tax starting in January of 2027, intended to raise nearly $400 million over 10 years, exclusively on the backs of local Salem and Kaiser businesses within the urban growth boundary. With only 4% of Salem-Kaiser residents utilizing public transit one or more times per year, do you support this tax proposal, yes or no? And please provide an explanation for your position.
Thanks for the question. No, absolutely not. We've been through this with the payroll tax. It was inappropriate to impose it. It would be inappropriate to impose the Chariots tax when, at this time, it's not our priority. We have crisis in our city, and we need to be addressing that first. Maybe someday we can afford the Taj Mahal of transit systems, but now is not the time.
Thank you. Councilor Nordyke, would you like me to repeat the question?
That won't be necessary, Tom. My answer is no. And, you know, honestly, I thought I'd made myself quite clear on payroll taxes when this concept came to city government. You'll recall that Salem did try to pass a payroll tax and that it went down in flames. But here's a refresher just in case. I voted against the city passing a payroll tax without taking it to a vote of the people. I don't believe in taking taxes like that to a vote of council without the voters even getting to weigh in on it. So my opinion on passing payroll taxes without voter input has not changed. I also voted against the payroll tax itself, and about 80% of Salem residents agreed with me on that. Now, since the failure of that payroll tax, have we grown more or less affordable? I think we all know the answer to that question. Salem is experiencing an affordability crisis. Most people who live here cannot afford to buy a medium-priced home here. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Nordyke. The third question, we'll start with Councilor Nordyke. Oregon's taxable income base is shrinking due to both large and small businesses relocating to other states in avoidance of rising costs of doing business in Oregon, squarely based on taxes, fees, and regulations, which has created a perpetual cycle in economic stability known to economists as the doom loop. Oregon is currently ranked as the 47th least friendly business state in the nation. As mayor, what will you do to invigorate and incentivize the Salem business community to remain, expand, invest, and even start new businesses, which would result in vital job production and stable tax base?
Thank you, Tom. That is an excellent question. Supporting our businesses and our workers is one of the mayor's most important responsibilities. We've all seen businesses leave, and we know that opportunities are slipping away. But it doesn't have to be this way. First of all, having an open line of communication with the business community is paramount. Having an open line with the Chamber of Commerce and other businesses in the area is really important if you're going to be mayor of Salem. But next on my list is ending the tax on downtown businesses. Now that the city is making money from paid parking, it doesn't make sense to double dip. I have called for a refund on the taxes paid by those downtown businesses since paid parking began. But there's a lot more we can do. We can create a buy local campaign. We should be streamlining permitting, signage, all kinds of licensing and other rules that make business difficult. We need to make that a lot easier. We should be doing a buy local campaign and bringing more businesses here and trade shows here. We know businesses are leaving Portland. We should be recruiting them to come here.
Thank you, Councilor. Mayor Hoy, would you like me to repeat the question? Or
Yes, please.
Okay. Oregon's taxable income base is shrinking due to both large and small businesses relocating to other states in avoidance of the rising cost of doing business in Oregon, squarely based on taxes, fees, and regulations, which has created a perpetual cycle of economy instability known to economists as the doom loop. Oregon is currently ranked as the 47th least friendly business 47th least business friendly state in the nation. As mayor, what will you do to reinvigorate and incentivize the Salem business community to remain, expand, invest, and even open new businesses, which will result in providing vital jobs and stable tax base?
Before I answer that question, and thank you, Tom, I just want to point out that the concept of stopping the tax on business for parking was not Councilor Nordyke's idea. It was all of council that knew going into this that eventually that would be phased out. Paid parking is doing better than anticipated. Therefore, we will be able to issue a refund to the businesses in downtown, and I think that's incredible. So thank you for bringing that up. Another point, Councilor Nordyke and I are not in disagreement most of the time. When we're doing city business, it's good, and we accomplish things and we get things done. We agree on a lot. That's one of the things I've appreciated about her. I'm not sure about this separation and how the progress that we've been making should be shifted or distracted by her running for this office. We are making progress. And I look forward to continuing to meet with Eric Anderson of SEDCOR and getting feedback from the chamber.
Thank you, Mayor Hoy. And since everybody is speaking about this, actually in October, the Salem Chamber and I issued a request to the city that they forego the parking assessment. And I want you, the community, to understand, we've been talking with City Manager Namburi on this for a number of months, and it's great seeing it get traction, and I will address it again this evening at City Council. Now it's the part of our program where the Councilor Nordyke and Mayor Hoy will be able to ask each other a series of questions. Again, the question will provide 2 minutes for a response with a 1-minute rebuttal, and I believe we are to Mayor Hoy to ask the first question of Councilor Nordyke.
Thank you, Tom. Councilor Nordyke, do you believe Salem is better off with my choice of a new city manager that we hired last year, or would you have retained the previous manager? I know you were on the hiring panel for him.
Thank you so much for the question, Julie. So I have been on city council for about 6 years, and I've seen a lot of city managers come and go, and all of them had their strengths and their weaknesses. I remember that Steve Powers was a strong proponent for our public safety. I know that Keith Staley brought a lot of new ideas to our city and did an excellent job stewarding things while he was here. But the silver lining to Keith Staley's departure, as I've stated publicly before, is Krishna Namburi. Krishna works really hard, and she did a lot of great work to support the livability levy. So I would say that while the circumstances of his departure were anything but good, it was a really rough situation, as I think we all know. And his severance cost us about $256,000. I think it's important to note that Krishna is the hardest working city employee I know.
A 1-minute rebuttal, Mayor Hoy.
I have nothing to add.
Councilor Nordyke, your question for Mayor Hoy.
Thank you so much. So, Mayor, in 2024, we had a council meeting on a land use vote. The property was owned by a developer who had donated to your campaign. Minutes before that meeting began, you asked me if you should participate in the vote, given your connection to this donor. And I told you absolutely not, in no uncertain terms. Sadly, after that, we walked into the council chambers and you voted for it anyway, and I really wish you hadn't. You didn't need to do so. This vote ended up saving the donor hundreds of thousands of dollars in development costs. So I have to ask, Mayor, given this past experience, if a donor's real estate project comes up again on a council agenda, will you recuse yourself from participating in the vote?
Mayor Hoy, a 2-minute answer.
Thank you. Well, I don't remember the absolutely not answer. I do remember it was still up to me. And I was not going to benefit financially from that decision. Therefore, I felt it was important to participate in the vote. Development is taking a lot of, facing a lot of difficulty when it comes to getting projects completed. And these unnecessary expenses, saving that development project, $200,000, whatever dollars it was, actually saves the potential home buyer. So that's what it's all about.
A 1-minute rebuttal to Councilor Nordyke.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Madam Mayor. So what I'm hearing you say is, if a donor's project comes back to council for a vote, you will be voting yes.
May I answer? The answer is yes. If I am not going to benefit financially, there is no reason not to participate in that vote.
Okay, and we will, just for fairness, we'll, Councilor Nordyke, if you have something you'd like to rebuttal a second time, I'll provide that.
That won't be necessary.
Okay, the second question, we will again start with going in reverse order. Councilor Nordyke, your second question for Mayor Hoy.
Thank you so much, Tom, and thank you all again for being here. So, Mayor, I appreciate all the work that you've done in your first year, but every leader makes mistakes, and I'd like you to identify what are the 3 biggest mistakes you made in your first year as our mayor?
2-minute response by Mayor Hoy.
3 biggest mistakes. One was not reviewing a letter of support for the transportation package before I signed it. That was a big mistake. And I tried to make that right by issuing my own letter as Julie Hoy and how I feel about a tax being imposed on the people without a vote of the people. That's number one. Number two, not asking for a mute button at council meetings earlier. Absolutely. It's ridiculous, some of the behaviors that have been exhibited. Whether you knew it or not, council's not in the Civic Center anymore. We began meeting in the library. None of the usual tools were at our hands. I didn't have a mute button for months. When you get 3 minutes, you get 3 minutes, period. When it's up, and that's the bottom line. And if you talk over, you're going to hear from me. I'm not as weak as I seem. Third mistake, food poisoning, but I won't talk about where that happened.
Rebuttal for 1 minute, Councilor Nordyke.
Wow. Well, thank you, Madam Mayor, and I'm so sorry to hear about food poisoning. That's I wouldn't wish that on anybody. So I appreciate the mistakes that you've admitted today, and thank you for that. But honestly, I would have thought that it's been almost a year since the Oregon Government Ethics Commission, and I thought that by now you would have accepted responsibility for your role in that. We all have. Every one of us has accepted responsibility, but you may be the first mayor in Salem history to get us dragged into an Oregon Government Ethics Commission investigation. And that investigation concluded, the commission concluded, that you told our own member of council, our council president, that a majority of council supported Keith Staley's resignation when that wasn't true. And so I find it really unfortunate that this was an opportunity to come clean, and you haven't done so. So I think that that was a huge mistake.
Thank you. Mayor Hoy, your second question for Councilor Nordyke.
Councilor Nordyke, it was only Councilor Nishioka who believed that I led her to think that the majority of council wanted the city manager gone, when in fact that wasn't true. I followed the city attorney's advice and instruction. The clock's not moving, just so you know, Jameson.
Did you have a question, Mayor?
You're going to
Yeah.
ask, we're not starting a
Absolutely.
clock until after your question
Oh,
is
thank you.
asked,
I
Mayor.
apologize, I misunderstood. The question is, why did you choose to believe Councilor Nishioka's version of events over the reality of the conversation we had, which was that I couldn't ask you how you felt about this? I simply wanted to make you aware that this discussion might be happening before council based on the assessment of the city manager's duties.
Mayor, I didn't choose to believe Councilor Nishioka's statement. I choose to believe the investigators' conclusions, which were adopted by the Oregon Government Ethics Commission. An independent body reached these conclusions, Madam Mayor, and I agree with that. And that was based on a very in-depth investigation that went on for months. Every single councilor gave a statement. Every single councilor gave a statement that said they did not want Keith Staley to resign. So I rely on the independent findings of the commission.
A rebuttal, Mayor Hoy.
Rebuttal. I followed the city attorney's instructions, and I spoke to each councilor without asking how they would feel about that issue. And you said I may be the first mayor to ever experience this level of whatever you called it. And the truth is, this body, the Oregon Government Ethics Commission, was only formed in November of 2023. We just got to go first.
Okay. We will now move into our audience-provided questions, and there have been a ton. Jameson and I are doing the best we can to work our way through as many as possible. As a reminder, if the question is directed to one candidate, they will have 2 minutes to respond. If it is directed to both candidates, you will have a 1 minute response window. And I will clarify before asking the question who the question is for. The first question is for both candidates. So you will have 1 minute to reply, and we will start with Mayor Hoy's response first. What is your mayoral duties to the federal government in regard to ICE assignments in our community and when it comes to law enforcement orders?
Thank you for the question. We cannot interfere with federal enforcement, period. Our police department is prohibited legally from doing so.
Councilor Nordyke, you have a minute to answer the same question.
Thank you so much. Well, I think it's important to point out that while it is true that certainly I don't agree with our law enforcement breaking any laws, I don't agree with any other agency breaking laws either. I also think it's important to point out that our police chief has been very clear on what his duties are under Oregon law, and that requires not working with ICE either. So I feel that in a city of our size, where a quarter of our population is Latino, that the sense of unsafeness that people don't feel safe in our city. They are worried that their parents are going to get snatched up by ICE, and we had a lot of testimony to that effect. So I feel, as mayor, it's important that every member of our community feels safe and knows that nobody is above the law. Thank you.
Thank you both. Our next question. Salem has adopted a series of well-intentioned policies regarding land use, homelessness, and taxation. Can you name one policy on the books that you believe has had good intentions but produced unintended consequences for Salem's business community? And what will you do differently if elected? We will start with Councilor Nordyke.
Can you repeat that one more time, please?
Salem has adopted a series of well-intended policies regarding land use, homelessness, and taxation. Can you name one policy on the books that you believe had good intentions but provided unintended consequences for Salem businesses? And what would you do differently if elected?
Well, there's a lot to choose from, but with 1 minute, one of the things that I will focus on is something we've been hearing a lot from our business communities, and it has to do with the nuts and bolts of running a business, signage. I have attended chamber meetings where folks have expressed concerns about how complicated our signing regulations are. All of our businesses here want to have signs that show they're open for business and welcome people into our area. And this may seem like a mundane thing, but I know that this has been a frustration of the chambers. But you could also talk about any number of regulations that slow down development. We know from talking to our home builders in the area that every additional rule, every additional piece of red tape slows down development, and time is money. All of the additional rules and regulations, however well-intended, impact the cost of building housing at a time when housing costs, the cost of labor, the cost of supplies is already sky high. So we need to streamline red tape and do everything we can to make it easy to open a business and build. Thank you.
Mayor Hoy, the same question.
Thank you. And Councilor Nordyke, great points. I appreciate that. I'm going to get real about it and say that no business should open in Salem without a sign. How many times have we seen some crappy banner, God bless whoever made it, but instead of a real light-up, sign on a business that brings legitimacy and a draw? Why did the Black Bear Diner open without its bears? Why? Because the city decided not to call it landscape art, instead a sign. That, to me, is ridiculous. Period.
Next question, and we will start with Mayor Hoy. What policy will you champion to increase housing development in Salem? Secondly, is low-income affordable housing your only priority?
No, low-income affordable housing is not my only priority. We need all kinds of housing so that middle housing folks can move up if they feel like it and can afford it. And so those in beginning housing can move into middle. And those in apartments, you know this drill. I'm preaching to the choir. We need all types of housing. And I'm blanking on the first part of the question, except that we need to get the heck out of the way. The state included. You can't say we need 140,000 units of housing and then choke everybody out so we can't get anything done. So we need legislative change, and we need our legislators to work harder for us in order to get these things done.
Councilor Nordyke, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, that'd be great. Thank you.
What policy will you champion to increase housing development in Salem? Secondly, is low-income, affordable housing your only priority?
No, it's definitely not my only priority. And you can look at my voting record to verify that. So since joining council, I have voted to approve a lot of different developments all over the city of Salem. I know that we are growing rapidly, and like the mayor, I agree that we need to take a hard look at our regulations and streamline wherever we can to allow development to occur. Now, there are, of course, a lot of state laws that are well above our pay grade, but honestly, there's some things that we have done at the city level that we should be proud of. We, as a council, have recently adopted a housing production strategy. We have been meeting with developers, renters, everyone in between. We are meeting with all kinds of folks to help them and get the input we need. We have rezoned 1,800 acres within Salem city limits, and you can already see where that rezoning is paying off. One project is the Gussie Bell Commons project on Center Street. We are literally paving the way for new housing.
Thank you, Councilor Nordyke. We will start again with Councilor Nordyke, and this is again for both candidates. How will you hold ODOT accountable for encampments on city properties, on their properties within our city?
Well, I think that requires a conversation with the state of Oregon. You see, we have a camping ban in place on city property. We can't make a ban on state property, not as a city ordinance. So that requires building relationships with the ODOT to talk to them about potential solutions. That could include, for example, setting up fencing and boulders. I think the other thing that we really need to do is remind folks that some of our most problematic areas in the city for homelessness are not city property, they're not private property, it's state property. So I would really welcome opportunities for us to sit down with the state of Oregon and show them what we're seeing. And it's not enough to just enforce. We really do need places for people to go. And again, as I mentioned earlier, our own homeless service team officers have told us enforcement will only go so far. You still need places to take people. Our chief of police has said we cannot arrest our way out of homelessness. So we need to build
Thank
a
you,
partnership with
Councilor.
ODOT. Thank you.
Mayor Hoy, the same question.
Thank you. I'm bringing a motion to tonight's meeting to ask for city staff to communicate at a deeper level with ODOT to get them to speed up their process. Right now, it's maybe 6-8 weeks before they come back to a bad space. The development, the houseless development and Market Street exit popped up over the weekend. I hope we don't get the same response that we got from the Regional Solutions meeting ODOT person who said, unfortunately, sometimes people have to get hurt or die before something changes. We need better than that. We deserve better than that, and they need to do what they can more quickly to help our city to look like we're a place you want to be and an exit you want to take.
Wallace Marine Park was once identified as one of the most prosperous, event-filled parks within our park system. Now today, it is called the largest homeless gathering spot in the states of Oregon and Washington by number, with some estimating the population over 1,500 individuals. What is your plan for Wallace Marine Park, and what is the timing on your plan? We will start with Mayor Hoy.
Thank you, Tom. This subject is a passion of mine. I've spent quite a bit of time in Wallace Marine Park with our HST officers, and I want to thank the business community for the donation which funded 2 more officers. We're now covered for 7 days a week instead of 4, and our sanitation team is also working 7 days a week. Wallace Marine Park should be beautiful. Why aren't environmentalists upset at the amount of trash sitting next to the Willamette River, leaking into everything, and where are they for that? These people need help, and they do need a place to go, and they really need accountability. We deserve a space like Minto Brown to be Wallace Marine. where we can enjoy what the beautiful valley and originally the Native Americans of this space appreciated. It's not happening in Wallace Marine Park, and it should be.
Councilor Nordyke, the same question.
Thank you. So council unanimously voted to increase our sanitation team and to increase our homeless services team from 2 to 4. You're going to need more than 4 officers and a handful of sanitation workers to serve the residents who have been calling Wallace Marine home for a long time. Like I said, you need places for people to go. Now, the city did not create the affordability crisis, the drug crisis, or the mental health crisis, and yet you see so often it's the city that is being asked to respond and to put your taxpayer dollars on the line. We need help from other sources. We need help from the state of Oregon. We need the governor to follow up on ensuring more shelter and more safe places for people to go. Because merely telling them that they can't be here in Wallace Marine Park, what are they going to do? Are they going to walk into the neighborhoods of West Salem? Do we want that? Do we want them to walk onto the doorsteps of businesses in West Salem? We do not.
We will start this next question with Councilor Nordyke. There is a perception that city government is retaliatory to small businesses that question or push back on government policy. This is often done through requests for inspections by the sign code enforcer. How may we change this culture that currently exists within city government?
Me? Okay.
Councilor Nordyke will start.
Well, given the fact that I already brought up the signing the permitting issues, you can see that this is an issue that I'm already aware of, and it is a priority of mine. So I appreciate whoever is bringing that question, because it's certainly something that I've seen as well. We don't want retaliation against local businesses would make absolutely no sense. We need city staff that are prepared to meet with new businesses, ideally before they even open, so that they know how to avoid making mistakes, which is so easy to do. If you've ever seen our sign code, it's confusing, right? And so I think it's a good idea for us to sit down with our business community and maintain an open line of communication. And so that means streamlining. That means putting it in plain English, and not only in English. We have a lot of businesses owned in town by people who don't speak English as their primary language. So city staff needs to do a better job.
Thank you. Mayor Hoy, the same question.
Wow. It's one thing to open without a sign. It's another thing to find out at the end of a project that you have to put in a fire hydrant. That's a huge expense. Something got lost along the way. And there are certain point, folks, where all of a sudden if it becomes legal, we can't talk about it, okay? Certain things are happening that shouldn't be happening. And I personally have great trust in our city manager, our new city manager, to make those things better and easier for those in development and in business.
This question is again for both candidates, and we will start with Mayor Hoy. Is it ever appropriate for a mayor to make promises they know the city cannot afford in order to calm a politically charged situation? Why or why not?
My answer is absolutely not. There is not, at times, there is not enough money to satiate the need, and we have to stay in our lane. We have to stay away from national politics. We have to stay away from international politics. Our city needs our help, and the people in it deserve our best. These special projects, which require amounts of money to be drawn from our general fund, just can't happen. And I'll speak to that a little more in my closing remarks.
Thank you. Councilor Nordyke, the same question.
Yeah, I agree. Don't make promises you can't keep. I think it's one thing to make promises you can't keep, and I would also say it's okay to aspire to be the best city in the state of Oregon. But you do have to do that, explaining that things cost money. If we want 0 people on the streets, that's not going to be free, and it's not going to be cheap. Enforcement costs money, shelter costs money, mental health care costs money, drug treatment costs money. If we want a city that is truly free of homelessness with a roof over every head, we have to have an honest conversation about what we are willing to spend. and where we can find resources to help us meet those goals.
Thank you. This is for both candidates, and we will start with Councilor Nordyke. Are you in favor of spending large sums of city dollars to redo street plans to increase the road diet locally for expansion of bike lanes and curb car usage?
You know, I think that this is where I would defer to the Our Salem master plan. Our city staff spent years developing a comprehensive plan that was based on a constant amount of dialogue with our residents, with our business owners, with our home builders, with a huge number of people who call Salem home. That was a huge amount of work, and we voted as a council to adopt that. So this is where I will defer to what the Our Salem zoning plan is. And that zoning plan is a massive document. It's not easily digestible, but I can tell you it comes from a place of making our Salem more efficient, making it easier to get from point A to point B. So that is where we really need to work together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Hoy. The same question.
Tom, could you repeat it? I kind of started thinking about tomorrow.
Are you in favor of spending large sums of money to redo street plans to increase the road diet for expansion of bike lanes and to curb car usage?
Again, I think this comes down to a matter of priorities. And there were decisions made long before I came along, and those decisions are playing out. And so we are living that. I personally do not make that a priority. I want people to feel inherently safe in this city, no matter what the circumstance. I want the city to feel clean. I want it to feel safe and healthy.
Councilor Nordyke, this question is exclusively for you, so you will have 2 minutes to answer. Councilor Nordyke, you protested the Velo Airlines operation at the Salem airfield. They
No.
have since left and have not been replaced. Do you still stand by your decision to protest, and do you understand the economic opportunities that left when the airline departed?
That's not true. You're thinking of Councilor Varney, another V. I did not protest at Velo Airlines. And in fact, Tom, I remember you and I served on the Airport Advisory Committee. We were working together to bring a Velo to the city of Salem. You won't catch me at that protest. I worked hard because I knew that bringing an airline to Salem would generate tens of millions of dollars for our economy, for everything from our baristas at the downtown coffee houses to the restaurants, our hotels. So I don't know who's giving you that information, but that is not accurate.
And then I apologize for that, and I'm glad we had an opportunity for you to clarify that. I need to do a better job on questions, apparently, but I do apologize, and I did take a flight with you, in fact, on a Velo.
Oh, yeah.
This is for both candidates. What does the next 4 years endgame look like for Salem? Is your future vision for economic vitality or simply continuing where we have been the last 4 years?
Is that to me?
We will start with Mayor Hoy.
Wow. Golly, now I forgot the question. Economic vitality. Economic vitality, 100%, all day long. I mean, we need that. Without that, we cannot provide for our community. We need people to want to be here, to want to build a business here, and to want to support the local community in every way possible. That would be my answer if I remembered the whole question.
Thank you. And the question for you, Councilor Nordyke, as well.
Can you repeat that again? Thank you.
Yes. What does the end game, what does the next 4 years end game look like for the city of Salem? I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. All right.
It goes on to suggest economic vitality, et cetera. But what is the next 4 years end game, and does it look like the last 4 years?
Certainly it doesn't. So one of the things that we have seen is affordability has gotten worse, worse, and worse in the city of Salem. When the locals did the point-in-time count, that's the annual, well, not even annual, it's the point-in-time count done every other year or so of homeless in our area, The last one that was completed in 2025 found that about 47% of the people who identified as homeless that day were newly homeless. So that is just one of the symptoms of a larger problem here. Most people cannot afford to buy a home here. We have people who are this close to losing their housing. So moving forward, what we need to do is fine-tune the things that we have been doing that have been working. When I started on council in 2019, we had people lining up outside the old Rite Aid and the Nordstrom. Managed shelters helped get people off the streets and into stability. I see I'm out of time. There's so much more that we need to do.
This question will start with Councilor Nordyke. There are many perceptions of the effectiveness of paid parking downtown Salem with the meters. What are you hearing, and where would you like to see us go next?
Well, so I know that the city sent out a survey, and I haven't seen the results yet, so I would like to see what people say about that. I have heard a variety of reactions, and so honestly, hearing the input from people when we talk about paid parking in the upcoming city council meetings will be really important to me. Public input has always mattered to me. Public input has swayed me, and I think that is because I respect the fact that no one person has all the answers. So I look forward to having that conversation with the business community, the people who are running their businesses downtown, and the people who are coming downtown to support our economy.
Thank you. Mayor Hoy, the same question.
Paid parking, overwhelmingly, the input I have received has been positive. Businesses themselves saying that people are actually able to park and come in and have a lunch or a quick bite or a drink or whatever it is. I personally have experienced that with my husband. We go to lunch. Oftentimes in the past, we would have had to park 4 or 5 blocks away and walk. Adds time to your lunch hour. Another point, interesting, I was in Corvallis last month, and they don't have paid parking. They have the 3-hour parking. I was gonna stop at a shop, and I couldn't find a parking place. So I think we're better off in the long run, and the revenue that we're going to receive from it is only going to help us to do better, to be better, and to look better downtown. I want some hanging baskets back, personally.
This is for Councilor Nordyke, so you will be afforded 2 minutes. The city's own polling shows that residents have more confidence in the direction of the City of Salem under Mayor Julie Hoy's leadership. This positive direction is directly tied to the support of the livability levy approved in 2025. How will you keep this positive momentum continuing if you are elected mayor?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. So first of all, I think we should all agree that the passage of the livability levy was certainly a team effort. That the livability levy demonstrated the fact that it doesn't make sense to campaign on a platform of we have a budget problem, not a spending problem. That is a false narrative. And the reality is that once you understand our budget, you understand that the way that city services has been funded has been undercut for many years. I am so thrilled to see that folks are responding favorably to the livability levy. I was so thrilled to see that our unions and our business leaders came out in support. This is proof that when Salem works together, good things happen. And because of that, we now have some guaranteed funding for the services that are essential to so many members of our community. Our parks, our senior center, our library. They are used by people every single day. The library posted recently that they had over 300,000 visitors in 1 year. So I'm really grateful for that. So taking the momentum forward is going to take a lot of things. Transparency in government, oversight. We need to make sure those funds are wisely spent. This is our audition to the people of Salem. They've decided to vote for this. Now we need to prove as city leaders that we will spend that money efficiently and effectively. Every day is an opportunity to have a conversation with a member of Salem who doesn't know who we are or what we do. They don't know how hard our city staff work every single day. They don't know that the council unanimously decided to put this levy on the ballot, decided that, yes, we do in fact have a budget challenge, and yes, we must do something about this. We can't afford to cut dozens and dozens of jobs. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. And at the risk of trusting that this question answer is very accurate, because we found that once to not be rock solid today, I'm going to trust. We will start with Councilor Nordyke. There are over 100 shelter beds left empty in Marion County alone each night. How do you have noted that not enough beds is the problem, and yet we have 100 shelter beds left in Marion County alone each night. Would you address this issue?
Absolutely. There are 2,100 persons experiencing homelessness. Even if that is true, let's assume for the sake of the argument that is a true statement. That's 2,000 to go. We have a problem here that will take a lot more than an additional 100 beds a night. And it really requires a case-by-case process. I am a person who goes to shelters unannounced to see if they're being well run, to see if the people are safe and getting the care they need, and to see if they are building self-sufficiency. And I can tell you that there are a lot of shelters in town that are working extremely hard to help people become self-sufficient. When we end homelessness for one person, we might end a lifetime of dependency on government services. That's one of the reasons why I've been prioritizing youth shelters in my recent conversations. We have about 400 youth without shelter right now.
Thank you, Councilor. Mayor Hoy, the same question.
Could you repeat it, Tom?
There are over 100 shelter beds left empty in Marion County each night. You have noted that number of beds is the challenge. How do you intend to fill these that we already have open? And please address this situation.
Thank you. First, I'm not sure where Councilor Nordyke is getting the 2,100 number, I think I heard. I do want to point out that having been out with the HST officers again a few weeks back, that the number of folks living unmanaged and camping in Wallace Marine Park is down to about 170 people. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of those folks probably are under the bridge to West Salem or out on the I-5 Market Street exit or Sunnyview and Market, which has been a chronic big problem. And there's the fishbowl. There are a lot of areas where these folks are at. Unfortunately, shelter beds don't always meet the requirements of those who need them. And some can be harder to get into. If only all those beds available at the Union Gospel Mission would be filled every night.
We're down to our last few questions. You've both done great. Thank you. Will both of you be doing any further debates with each other, especially an opportunity at zero cost? Mm-hmm. I'll leave it at that. We'll start with Mayor Hoy.
Not gonna lie, it's not my favorite thing to do. But I would consider that, depending on the circumstances.
Okay, and Councilor Nordyke.
Thank you, Tom. First of all, Mayor, the 2,100 comes from the point-in-time count conducted in 2025. And that is information available online. Absolutely, we need more debates. When the tickets were first announced for this event, it was $75 per person for non-chamber members. That includes the privilege of being able to submit a question for consideration. Well, folks, the City of Salem has a lot of people who can't afford a $75 lunch or even a $45 lunch. So we absolutely need more debates, and I look forward to them.
For clarity, all people who were in attendance today, members and non-members, had questions submitted. I have no idea who submitted these questions, so I've got to think it was not just chamber members and also our residents. Our last question for both, and I will be addressing this myself at City Council this evening. Councilor Nordyke, we'll start with you. Are you planning to advocate or propose increasing taxes or fees on the private sector or Salem businesses in the next 18 months?
No.
Mayor Hoy, the same question.
No.
That's good stuff. I'm not going to lie, that
No.
makes me really, really happy on behalf of this room. I think we can all applaud for that one. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now do our closing remarks.
All right.
And it will start with Councilor Nordyke.
One moment. All right. Thank you, members of the Chamber, for hosting what I expect will be the first of several debates. I want to thank the people who grew our food, who prepared our food, and served it today. And to learn more about me, I encourage you to visit electvanessanordyke.com. You know, the capital of Oregon should be a shining example for all Oregon cities. We could be a city with a roof over every head, a city that uses every taxpayer dollar effectively and efficiently, a city of peace where everyone feels safe, a city that protects the human rights of every person, no exceptions, a city of transparency where business is conducted in broad daylight at City Hall, a city with a bustling economy where local businesses feel supported and are thriving and are jonesing to move here. A city with parks, libraries, and cultural events that are free and accessible to all. That's what we should be working on. And the mayor should be tackling these challenges head on and inviting every resident to be a part of the solution. Salem residents like me know that complaining doesn't solve anything. It only breeds division. But thankfully, for every complainer you see online, there are many more helpers. Salem residents are rising each and every day to feed, teach, mentor, heal, and protect our neighbors. And when someone like the mayor raises awareness of good deeds, it inspires more good deeds. If you've been following me in my career or on Facebook, then you know that I don't run on fear or hate. I'm in the community every single day, shining a light on the good work of others, supporting others, and supporting some of our most vulnerable residents.
Thank you, Councilor Nordyke.
Thank you so much.
Mayor Hoy, 2 minutes.
In closing, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I'm Julie Hoy. I'm a small business owner and proud to serve as mayor of this great city. Above all else, I'm a child of God. And if I didn't feel called to this work, I wouldn't be doing it. A year ago, Salem was on life support. An almost $30 million swing in a municipal budget in less than 6 months is unheard of. Oh, and do that while you're facing a lack of public trust, lack of public safety, homeless, mental health, and addiction crises, face a housing crisis, a serious affordability issues, all that while fighting against state and federal decisions which at every turn impede progress. Oh, and June 1st, let's just move everybody out of the Civic Center and do the work from 4 or 5 different locations. And yet, we've managed. We've managed to make progress because of great leadership. It might not be sexy, but it's solid, and it's working. We're moving forward to better and brighter days in Salem. My priority is to continue to work on the small picture stability. Call me the no-drama mama, but we must remain calm. We have to don our own mask first so we can be healthy enough to serve the whole community. Our circumstances here in Oregon are like a really hard puzzle. You know what that is. When the harder you stare, the less possible it seems. But don't walk away. Don't give up. We've got to hang in there together for just such a time as this. We collectively were built for now, and at just the right time, in all of our difficulties, the next piece of this puzzle will come. One day, we will celebrate victory over all these difficulties. I envision a vibrant and energized city with the right help and resources for those who are suffering, true accountability and actual return on investment, a clean, safe, and healthy Salem where we can all live. I need your support and I need your vote in May to continue this great work. How we vote makes all the difference. The work should not be about politics. It should be about governance, genuine concern, and hope for the people of Salem.
Allow me to try this again. Ladies and gentlemen, your mayoral candidates. President Ted Ferry.
Thank you very much.
Well, I was so excited to get off the stage, but hey, I'm here back again. So, hey, thank you all for coming today. I think the comment that I would say is we are the Salem Area Chamber of Commerce. With that comes a great deal of responsibility, and we are a group of mostly small businesses. We are not a big business organization. And we are also a community of a lot of nonprofits. I believe every nonprofit in our area are members with the Salem Area Chamber of Commerce. So I thank you for being here today. I thank you for listening to this debate. I thank you for Mayor Hoy and Councilor Nordyke for sharing their ideas and their concepts. But we are all about economic advocacy. That is what the Salem Area Chamber of Commerce is about. So thank you for that, and thank you for my ability to grandstand a moment. Thank you also for Brian Malone for sharing the national anthem with us. Thank you always for Allied Video Productions and Capital Community Media and the Salem Convention Center. You guys do a fantastic job every single month, excuse me, to help us through this process. We really appreciate the words today by Jesse about the Political Center powered by Salem Business Journal. We're excited how they are serving now our not only community in a greater way, but look forward to what they're going to be producing for us. Thank you also for the Hagen Hamilton Group and Insurance Solutions for being our series speaker sponsors. And then you all have this little sheet on your tables. Please take out your phone. Please zap any appropriate QR code. Thank you so much, Jackie Roche with membership and Jackie Ellabrock for putting that together for us to use to make our lives at the Chamber easier. Next forum series speaking event is February 9th, so I believe that's hopefully on that little QR code. We are going to hear from Jim Burnell and Mike Osborne. It is going to be a topic about Willamette Valley Vineyards and the unique Oregon story that they have. So look forward to that. Also, in 12 short days, we have the Safe Agribusiness Banquet presented by KeyBank. Remember to break out the boots and the jeans because this will be a fun Friday on January 23rd from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's a terrific annual event, and we're always honored to help support and celebrate our agricultural community. A few comments today on chariots. It's really important that you stay plugged into the Salem Area Chamber of Commerce. Jameson Gideon does a great job as far as updates. We are looking at a $40 million tax, okay? And we need to voice our concerns. We are part of a great community of task force that has been put together, and our voice, we want to make sure that it's heard. So stay informed, stay plugged in. Next, also, you will be hearing on Thursday, January 29th at 7:30 a.m., so if you want to wake up early, you'll hear about Salem Public Works projects that are going to be taking place, and we need to keep the dollars that the City of Salem spends in our Salem community. So please plan to attend that. Lastly, a couple things before we get to the winner of our centerpiece. Tonight at the Salem City Council, you will hear our CEO, Tom Hoffert, will be presenting directly to the Salem City Council members economic conditions facing Salem small businesses. It's important that we show up. The meeting starts at 6 p.m. and will be held at the Salem Public Library. Your presence at tonight's meeting will be really appreciated. So please plan on showing up. See you at 6 p.m. tonight. And then the winner of Ross Fresh Markets is Victoria Shin with People's Bank. So congratulations, Victoria. And with that, I thank you for being here. We have a packed house. Let's come back again next month as well. Have a great afternoon.